until Georgia will take the path that our ancestors began way long ago, and it is our obligation. We have to fight.
They are going to be founding fathers together with other people who are fighting for a new Georgian state, which is being born now.
It's really hard to mentally prepare yourself for injustice, and it's really hard to, to tell yourself that now you have to take control over your emotions, over your feelings and everything, because we were really, really angry.
I also liked your analogy when you compared the Ivanishvili's regime to cancer, to a tumor. And the only way to get rid of it is just to remove it. And the surgery needs to be done.
4th of October for me is aligned with Georgian people standing in the streets of Tbilisi, protesting and finishing what we have started many years ago.
Hello and welcome to Talk Georgia, which is my English podcast covering Georgian and regional politics. Talk Georgia is brought to you by Droeba Media Group, a trusted source of high-quality news and analysis. Also GSAC, a think tank providing comprehensive political analysis of Georgia and YXX region, also academic and practical training for postgraduate students and mid-career professionals. Today, to talk about the political prisoners, we are joined by Ketuna Kerashvili, a medical doctor, professor, an activist, freedom fighter, and a sister to political prisoner Irakli Kerashvili, who was recently sentenced 2 years in prison, together with 10 other people, including Andro Chechenadze and Onise Tkadadze, literally for nothing. First of all, I want to briefly break down the charges against me. As for the accusation of being part of a group, I had never even met these wonderful people before the trial. Regarding the allegation of violence and the persecution labels us as aggressors, let me remind you that I'm a doctor, a voluntary blood donor since the age of 18, and someone who's always cared deeply about the well-being of others around me. Violence is completely unacceptable and absurd to me. The charge that holds now is the group action that allegedly disrupted public order. And that charge was downgraded from a more serious charge, which was impossible to prove, which was the group criminal action. Mm-hmm. Okay, none of that have occurred, obviously, and the judge Galustashvili sent 11 people to 2 years in prison for this ridiculous charge, which is, again, group action that disrupted public order. Mm-hmm. Okay, Irakli's sister is with us, and my first question to you is that tell us a bit more about yourself, Irakli, your family. How come that you both ended up on Rustaveli Avenue, and then whatever happened, was it by chance, or it was his conviction? And how did his arrest change your life? Because I know that the doctors... by the way, Irakli also is a doctor.
Yes.
And the doctors should be taking care of, the people instead of, just fighting for brothers and sisters and etc. Who are in prison.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
I appreciate your time for that. In terms of me, I don't know, we had a pretty normal life, me and my brother, until this whole protest began. But I have to mention that it did not just begin in 2024, it actually started way earlier. So I remember me and my brother both were involved, and we decided to go to the protest starting in early 2018, I guess, something like that, around that time. It was the
Gavrilov's
time.
night.
It was before when this school-aged kid was murdered brutally.
I remember that in Vera.
On Vera Street. So after that was this also known as Gavrilov's night, when this whole process began. Well, before that, I think we were asleep. We were in the sleeping mode for a long period of time because our now so-called government were not showing the signs that they were more of a pro-Russian, they were taking this pro-Russian pathway. But after 2019, after this Gavrilov's night that happened, it was pretty clear, and we slowly started to awaken from this whole situation. And now at that time we basically started to see that, oh wait, this is not the path that we thought that we were taking, our government was taking. And it became pretty clear that we are taking, this government is taking the pro-Russian pathway. And that became a huge issue because people who know our history, these people might not know the whole Georgian history, because we're one of the ancient, countries and nations, but at least we know 2008's August War, at least we know Abkhazian War, and so on and so on. So it should be very easy for nowadays Georgian people to know who's with us and who's against us, who's our enemies, who are our allies. And at this point, we saw that Georgian government started to take the pathway that no Georgian would accept and no Georgian would follow to. So our main protest actually started in 2019 at this point. And ever since after that, the Georgian Dream showed us that as the years passed, we saw their actions towards Russia, towards everything was anti-Western and anti-USA, and all of these things became a huge issue. And ever since that, me and my brother, together with our friends, we have been standing on Rustaveli, and we have been protesting every single time when we see, when human rights are affected or people are beaten up, and whenever we see injustice, we're always there to, verbally and physically show that where we're standing and where the new generation is standing at this point.
Okay, so can you tell me a bit more about your family? About I
Sure.
know that you are all of you are doctors.
Yes.
And your mom is working in Italy. She's a doctor.
Yes,
Your
she's
dad also a doctor.
Yes.
Your brother was, or still, he's treating some inmates in prison.
Yes, he's a
Right.
plastic surgeon. He was supposed to continue his studies towards that, direction, but unfortunately, in 2024, on 6th of December, he got arrested all of a sudden, and ever since he stopped and he got interrupted in terms of his studies and stuff. But his presence in those 4 walls in the jail serves much bigger purpose, and he acknowledges that, and we also acknowledge that, and the family plays a huge role and huge part in every political prisoner's life, because we understand their purpose, we understand what their dedication was by standing there and by fighting and by resisting that pressure from the government. So, and we are gonna follow that until the end, until our boys are gonna get released from the prison, and until Georgia will take the path that our ancestors began way long ago, and it is our obligation. We have to fight for it, and we have to stand for what we believe. And I think that's what our profession also stands. Being a doctor is a huge responsibility, and me and my brother have been raised having that responsibility towards other people and towards ourselves in the first place, right? Because when you have the strong belief in you, and when you have faith, you follow that without any, interruptions, or there might be some interruptions, obviously, and there are always going to be some ups and downs, but that's what belief is needed for, that it helps you to go through that path and to get to destination, you know. And the destination for me and my brother and our family is to see sovereign Georgia and to see democracy, the true democracy that is believed to be in Georgia way before, you know, way before Russia's invasion and so on and so on. In terms of my family, that's what we have been doing. We're doctors. We have been trying to help other people all the time, heal other people all the time. My brother was doing the exact same thing. Even on the protests, he was always there with physiological solutions, and, you know, like, he was always trying to help other people to escape from the police officers and police people. And, like, you know, there were not only police people, there were also the so-called titushki that we have nowadays in Georgia. Even today, they are, you know, like, wandering around the streets and wandering around the protesters, and they're trying to, you know, like, scare us, trying to beat us. And, like, you know, the other one recently we saw that there was a gun also that they were pointing at the protesters. But these things do not scare these people. That's what they do not understand, that it doesn't matter if they will, I don't know, tell us not to go and like protest on Rustaveli Street, we're going to be there. If they will say that, oh, like, we're going to give like 5,000 jail for, you know, like, standing there, we don't care about those things, because once again, once you have the belief and once you have the destination plan, there's nothing that actually can stop you. And that's what my family has been teaching us, me and my brother, and that's how we have been raised, and that's what we're trying to achieve and accomplish, not just only for the country, but also for the sake of our family, and the sake of the other Georgian families as well.
I was kind of carefully reading the letters that Irakli sent out, letter to the diplomats and letter to your mom. Yeah. And what struck me, and you mentioned that it was not by chance that you both ended up on Rustaveli Avenue. Yes. And it was not just because you are doctors and you were just helping people out there in the difficult situation. In one of the letters he says that I'm ready to give up my freedom for the freedom of my country. And I think, and what he said, I'm not quoting him, but what he said, that very few will have this privilege.
Yes.
And I think it is important that, well, he and some of the other political prisoners, and there are up to 70 political prisoners, by the way, just my solidarity and support to all of them. And it is important that Irakli and some others realize that this burden is a very important privilege. Yes. So they are sacrificing their freedom for the freedom of Georgia. And however, I mean, no matter how painful this whole process is, I am 100% sure that these people will come out of prison a lot earlier than Judge Galustashvili or the other judges prescribed to them. Yes. And they are going to be founding fathers together with other people who are fighting for a new Georgian state, which is being born now, and a new Georgian kind of ironclad combat proven nation that is going to have a true, free and democratic state. And these guys will walk in Georgian towns and cities, big and small, their heads high. A lot of people will be very proud that they've known them, or they've touched them, or they've shaken hands with them. Yes. And I think this will come. Yes. But before that, what I want to ask you is that when the trial was over, I remember one of your interviews. You mentioned that this is the one round of fight is over, but there is another round coming, and we are going to do this fight. So my question is that: so did you mean the legal fight? and obviously it is to exhaust all the legal possibilities here in the appeals court, etc., and then to take it to the Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, or is it a fight against the regime, which you've been doing together with other family members of the political prisoners?
Well, first of all, I mean, like both sides, I would say, because like the legal part, we have to finish that one in our country, and then we can take it, abroad. So yeah, that's what I meant. Like one chapter is over. I think this is a big book, a thick book of Georgia's history. Now, whatever we're going through, and we're going through these, big and small fights all around. One chapter is over. And now we were waiting for the justice in our country, and we still had a hope. I personally had a hope. Like there were a lot of people who were like, no, like we know how it's going to end. But like still, I think that as people, we should always have this hope for a better future. And I did have that, expectation, just a little bit. But I did have that expectation, I have to admit. And after that, after I saw in terms of the 8 people who were in one group, and their court case was over the day before my brother's court case, and when I heard that they sent the judge Giorgi judge sentenced them for 2 years, I knew that it would be the exact same scenario in terms of our case as well. So I mentally prepared myself. It's really hard to mentally prepare yourself for injustice, and it's really hard to to tell yourself that now you have to take control over your emotions, over your feelings and everything, because we were really, really angry. At the same time, for 9 months we were angry. Some people might think oh, this anger goes away because you're getting used to it, but how can you get used to injustice? How can you get used to brutally interrupting human rights? You cannot get used to something like that. It's human life at the same time.
2 years of life has been taken away from
exactly, and there were certain political prisoners whose parents and whose family members actually passed away while there was this trial taking place. So, of course, the human lives as well at the same time. When I heard the 2 years, it was really hard to finally acknowledge that it's over. Of course there were tears, of course there was heartbreak, but we had to quickly regenerate from that position to the position where now really watch us, watch our courage, look after our anger, and be prepared, because we are getting ready. We're getting ready to fight, not for only these guys, because these guys were fighting for Georgia, and they are still fighting for Georgia. So our number one priority at this point is the liberation of our country from this pro-Russian government, which I call them cancer in a certain way, because at a certain point, because you are trying to fight against them, you see that people, they do not want you anymore. They saw your true face, they saw your true colors. Now you have to go out, you're out. But they are always trying to put pressure on people, and on some people it works, on some people it does not. People who woke up on time, we are standing there. There are certain people who are still trying to wake up, and there are people who are still sleeping, and they're still sleeping. We're doing our best to show them our truth, the truth of these guys, because they were sentenced to prison for 2 years for nothing. Even when the court was holding, and they showed certain videotapes, how they're showing that they were violently attacking the police officers, Every single time when we saw those videos, it were the policemen that should have been arrested, and not the other, not on the other side, the protesters.
And sorry, but it's so cynical, isn't it?
Yeah.
That the doctor is supposed to be taking care of people's lives and their health, etc. And your brother is basically charged with possibly damaging somebody's health, which is indeed very cynical.
Absurd.
And absurd. I also liked your analogy when you compared the Ivanishvili's regime to cancer, to a tumor.
Yes.
And the only way to get rid of it is just to remove it. And the surgery needs to be
Yes.
done. And if you are too weak, or if you're slipping, or if you're too late, or if your hands are trembling,
Yes.
that wouldn't work. So you need to be very precise with your
For sure.
surgery knife there.
Yes.
So let's move a little bit further. I know that you had this opportunity, and which is quite a rare opportunity to address European Parliament, which is, elected body from 27 member countries, and over 70 members of European Parliament
Yes.
are representing their people. And in that building, you were representing the families of the political prisoners of Georgia, and not only them, some of the people who are on Rustaveli Avenue. And you addressed members of European Parliament, some of the old friends of Georgia and some of the new friends of Georgia. And my question to you is that, so did you feel that they fully understood what the problem was and is in Georgia? Do they fully realize how grave the situation is? And are you a bit disappointed, because since then it's been already kind of 4 months, and let's face reality, the European sanctions are not there, or at least united European sanctions against the Georgian Dream regime, Ivanishvili and his cronies. Yes, there has been certain measures against, like the holders of the diplomatic passport. It stopped, visa-free travel stopped for them, but that's just drop in the ocean and nothing. So, and are you disappointed how sluggish and slow the European Union is in terms of Georgian case?
Well, first of all, it was really, I don't know, I guess for me as a doctor, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity at that point. So I felt a huge responsibility.
I was truly impressed by how you handled that.
Thank you so much. I tried really hard because I tried my best, because it is a huge responsibility, because it was not just me that was present there. It was Georgia people and those protesters who have been standing on Rustaveli Street and fighting against the regime for almost a year, like every single day. Not like every single week, but like every single day. So I had like a huge responsibility to make it right, and it was not just me, it was all of them. So when I arrived in Georgia, when I came back, everyone was like thanking me, and I was like, you should not be thanking me, because it's you. You were like, every single one of you were standing there. It was your words that I tried to verbally tell them what was going on in Georgia. In terms of the sanctions, and in terms of my speech that I had there, it was the committee where I was standing and was talking to in Europe Parliament. It was the committee of the human rights. So they were talking, they were discussing how specifically Georgia, what was going on in terms of Georgia, and what was going on in terms of the human rights. I tried my best to show them what Georgia has been going through, not just for this past year, but ever since 2008, the August war. Because at that time, when Georgia was literally screaming at Europe and screaming at West that you have to wake up, because this is what's going on in Georgia. And because of that, they did not hear our voice appropriately, and they did not act, not verbally talked about it, but actually acted. That was the reason why now Russia invaded Ukraine, and this war has been going on for years already. I was really mad at them. But at the same time, I tried to show them that Georgia and Ukraine, we're like a shield to the Western countries and to the West, because if they will be able to beat us, then the next country will be Poland, then the next country will be, I don't know, they already took over Belarus, and they already like are taking
Well, the prime example of that, so a few days ago, there were Russian drones in Poland and some of the other European countries.
Exactly. So this is going to be just the beginning of what can actually be the end of the whole Western world, because it's not just Russia, right? We have to face it, right? It's China, it's like all the other countries that are like, you know, Iran and many different countries who are standing together like as one. Yeah. They have the unity at this point,
absolutely.
Right?
That's an excess of authoritarianism around Russia, China, Iran.
Yeah, we are basically facing
and we're dragged to that axis.
Exactly.
Sadly.
We're basically at the crossroads between East and West at this point. And if the West will not wake up on time, then I am 1,000% sure that they are next. And this thing, what I basically told them is that was that I don't want to come back to Brussels, and I don't want you to say the things that now I am verbally trying to explain to you, you know. And to be honest, they showed big solidarity, and I understand that, I appreciate that, but solidarity is not enough. So we had solidarity in 2008, and now we see where Georgia is standing. Now we see that Russia is still trying to invade our country, but now in terms of different strategies. Now with the help of like Georgian people, who we have in government through Irakli and his, I don't even want to say politicians. They're not politicians. They are invaders of human rights, and they're invaders of their own land. I don't even know what to call them at this point. They're not even tumors. They're, I don't know, like they're not even, I don't know, like cells at this point for me. So I was trying to show them what we are going through right now, and they promised us that they would do their best. I understand that there are like many different types of legal aspects that they have to like go through until they will get to the point when they will get to the finalizing the sanctions. But they were also talking about the ending of visa liberalization, but this is basically the punishment of the Georgian people. And the punishment should come on and should take up on the politicians, the Georgia Dream politicians. And target sanctions are I think, and a lot of people agree with me, that target sanctions should be the only choice and only way out to beat them in this fight. But at the same time, nowadays I've been thinking that maybe they should actually stop the visa liberalization, because more people should wake up, and more people should understand that if all of these benefits will stop from the West, then it will also affect them. You know, it's not about just traveling to Europe and just, you know, like going shopping, going to the museums, going to the, I don't know, different bars. It's not only about that. It's about, you know, like healthcare. It's also about professional upgrading programs that they are having. They're offering like so many things to Georgian people, and some people just have this imagination that that's all Europe stands for. That you know, Europe is only about the LGBT, for example, communities. LGBTQ community, or it's just about having fun and so on. But at the same time, and what these people should understand, that we should be able to adapt. This is so bad and you know, not a good thing to say, but like we have to adapt to democracy, unfortunately, because we're a post-Soviet Union, like Soviet Union country. Whether we want or not, we have to adapt to democracy. We have to accept people. We have to protect their human rights. We have to have strong economics. We have to have non-fraudulent elections. We have to feel safe in our own country and in our own skin. And that's all of the things that these like Georgian Dream is taking away from Georgian people. And there are certain people in regions specifically that they don't even have like as much information, unfortunately. And what I have always been telling to our political prisoners now, right, who are in opposition, that go to these people, talk to these people, give them information, as much information as you can, because there are people who don't even have like TVs, for example, or they're watching like some specific channel where they're not showing anything, they're not showing how tough it is actually to live nowadays and to have like at least enough economical income in the family so that you could support your family. And we're just existing. This is not living. This is just existing on day-to-day basis. And I don't know. At the same time, throughout the evolution, we also need other things, right? We also need proper education. Education is the most important fundament for the government, for it to function properly, especially for the new generation. And if we will get deprived from this, then we're just going to get locked in, and the only way and only direction that we can look after is going to be obviously Russia. And this is something that these generations specifically don't want. We don't want it.
Absolutely, and nobody does.
Yes.
And I am also kind of frustrated how sluggish the European Union kind of reacts on what's been going on in Georgia.
Yes.
I understand that European Union is not a country, and then there is a decision-making mechanism which is based on unanimity, and things are sometimes difficult.
Yes.
And I also understand that, again, taking away the visa-free travel can be hard on Georgian people, but on the other hand, I don't think that there will be any other way if Ivanishvili's regime succeeds what they are doing. So, because if Georgia is turned into full authoritarianism in a dictatorship, then they will have to do it anyway, because the European Union cannot continue visa-free with the authoritarian country like Russia or Belarus or even Azerbaijan. Even Armenia, which is far ahead in terms of democracy, sadly. I mean, I am in favor of our Armenian friends to go ahead and carry on, obviously, but we do care about Georgia. And even Armenians don't have visa-free. So this is important, everybody to realize that this is coming, whether you want it or not. And if we don't fight more vigorously against Ivanishvili's regime, that will eventually happen. And having said this, I want to come back to Georgia. Of course, we can be as frustrated as you can be about United States or about the European Union, some of the Western countries, because most importantly, what is happening in Georgia, it is our responsibility, and we need to take care of this. Of course, the help is appreciated coming from the European Union, the United States, but the key job that needs to be done, from us. And in that regard, I know that when all this started and Ivanishvili's regime started arresting people, just regular demonstrators, from parents and from family members of the political prisoners, they were unhappy, obviously, because it seemed that political leaders were out in the streets, in their houses, with just posing in front of the television, and the regular demonstrators were in cells. And I think that the anger that was there, it was understandable for me. But later on, I think the situation changed, that the majority of the political leaders are also behind bars. And that kind of anger kind of equalized in a way that because they also are in the same boat as the other political prisoners. But there is another way of anger coming now, as I feel, because and now kind of people realize that the political leadership is not about being in prison, but bringing changes. And that's sad reality that the majority of the political leaders are in the prison. Of course, it's not their own fault, obviously. But yes, this leadership is kind of lacked outside. My question to you is this, again, in a few interviews that I heard of you, at some point you were disappointed about the political parties, political leaders, the local elections, some of them participating, some of them not. What's your take on this now?
Well, first of all, my solidarity to all those opposition leaders that are in prison now. And I think that that was a very brave move and a very right move at the same time. Because we all know why they're there, because they did not attend on this committee that Tzolkani was holding at this point. So I truly, honestly appreciate what their standing point, and I truly appreciate that they took the right decision at the same time. In terms of the other political opposition leaders that decided to participate in local elections, I would not say that I'm disappointed. I don't even know how to express what I think, and it's not about feelings. It's about what I think, and it's about for the sake of our country and for the sake of our boys who are now in jail. I think this was the worst move that they could have taken at this point and in this situation, because it was pretty clear that in the very beginning, Georgia, Georgian Dream's president up front informed every political opposition leaders that if they would participate in the local elections, they would have let them out. And that was not a surprise for any of us. And all of a sudden, I hear that this, their release from the jail was a surprise. It was not a surprise for any of us. The ones who were in the active protest.
From Rustaveli.
Exactly. So that was not a something like a huge surprise, but they could have saved themselves even at that point, in my opinion. They could have said that, you know what, if my people who I am standing next to, and I think that we should continue our fight against Georgian Dream, you know what, I'm gonna step back and I'm not gonna get involved in this, local elections. But no, they said that that was a trap. There was no trap. It was very clear from the very beginning what was their plan, and they decided to join. That's crystal clear for me at least. So I'm not even going to talk about those political opposition leaders. But in terms of the local elections, it does not exist. It does not exist because we had many meetings with the opposition leaders until they were, not jailed. And we asked them very specific and clear question: are you going to participate in local elections? And most of them, they were very clearly said that no. There were only just two parties that were, just not, they were hot and cold in terms of local elections. And it was very clear for us from the very beginning. But we were still hopeful at this point that they would make the right decisions. And I was always asking them, how do you think, or where are you getting this hope or belief that you are going to win in the elections? How does it happen that if you're saying that this government is, through fraudulent elections, stole your votes from you, how are you so sure that they're not going to do the same thing this time? And if you're saying that Georgian Dream is illegitimate parliament, then whose elections are you getting involved in? I just do not understand that. Maybe, I don't know, there are some politicians who can, I don't know, explain the situation, but every single person with whom I had encounter with, I've been always asking them, what do you think about this? Is this right? Is this wrong? Because I'm not a politician. And therefore, I'm always trying to have conversations with the ones who are actually in politics and who can actually give advices and who can see clearly the picture and the image as the way it is. And no one could actually explain why should they be involved in these elections. So therefore, these elections do not exist for me. 4th of October for me is aligned with Georgian people standing in the streets of Tbilisi, protesting and finishing what we have started many years ago, because I think that's all 4th of October is associating for me. it's associated with the final fight, and it might be a long one. I truly hope that it's going to be as it's needed, and we will do everything that's in our power for it to be, safe, but at the same time democratic. But we all know, and we've all seen how they are preparing their, police and their SWAT for that day. But we're not afraid of it, and we are ready, and we know exactly what we're doing. We know that we are going to fight until we liberate our country and our voice.
Thank you, Ketuna, for being with me. Thank you for watching us, listening to us. Please subscribe to our new YouTube channel to see new episodes and revisit some of the old ones. And I'll see you next week.